Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Welcome to all the guests. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? It's real Gans. Shalom Aleichem. Been here, I know. That's making sense. You haven't been here before. What's your name, Tzad? Moshe Lichtenstein from?
From Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
Your name? Moshe Weimer from Brooklyn, New York. Monsey. Wow, beautiful. Okay. And of course, we have Yosef Herman today, major guest. How's your new job? We're going to miss you, Tzadik. We're really going to miss you. Hi, Reb Eli. I know that many of us feel an almost familiar connected and responsibility towards one another. This connection is a big part of what makes the Shiur unique, despite the eclectic nature of its members and sheer numbers and geographical distance. We all feel like we know each other. To that end, I've heard about local WhatsApp groups. Is there a listing somewhere of the groups that exist? What about satellite shiurim? Very interesting that this week, Benny Rodnick just started working on a satellite shiur in Yerushalayim. It's going to start up very, very soon to be announced. Should I say where? In Rechavia. In Rechavia, where the island's going to daven together. They're going to have great coffee machine and drink coffee and then have a shiur together. Be a chavershav. So great idea. You see, sometimes these things happen. People are mechaven at the same time. How amazing would it be to get 10, 15, we'll talk about it, 10, 15 people doing the shiur together in one room in major cities across the U.S., Israel, and the world. Great idea. On another note, the tremendous amount of chesed perpetuated by this group has been inspirational. Have you considered helping facilitate business networking as well? Yes, we thought about it. It's going to be on our new app, Be'ezer Hashem. How amazing would it be for members to know each other, members that are doing what they refer business. What a vehicle for growth of membership. Connections between the shiur, shatchin, not to mention potential meiser. Your thoughts? I think we should have, okay, so Yosef says that if anybody wants to be on one of the local groups or make a new group, they should contact the WhatsApp group. Don't call, just contact at 972-58-797-7666. Mazel tov to Levi Shapiro. This is our very, very good friend, Shloimi Klein. I don't know if you guys remember, and if you're new to the shiur, the first picture we had of Shloimi Klein was him in the hospital, dying from COVID. Bemis. He was on his way out, Kamat, and he sent us pictures that he was doing the daf through it all, and that's how we got to know him very well. And Baruch Hashem, he's alive and well with his unbelievable sense of humor. And here's Levi Shapiro. I forgot to show this, but Baruch Hashem, I got it from a few people, so I'm going to show this. This is our good friend. He's the organizer of the Manchester Siyum, Shimmy Leafman in New York City, doing what Shimmy Leafman does. Because when we got off the train in Manchester, we heard him from a mile away. He was screaming, "Get over here!" and all sorts of stuff. But here he is in New York City, put it nice and loud.
Good morning, Rabbi.
No busha. Just kidding. I think the Olam liked it, so we got to do it again.
Good morning, Rabbi.
The guy's in shock. Look at that guy. He's like, okay, L.A. Paltov. You should let people who started Tainus like myself know that after Motzi Shabbos, they have been doing the daf for a complete year in English calendar, 365 days, a pretty impressive feat for people who haven't done the daf before. Unbelievable. A lot of people started Tainus. And here it is, 365 days later. It has been fun being here live the last 10 days. I didn't know what your voice sounded like in regular speed. A lot of people that come here, they say the same things basically. They'll say that I sound a lot different on regular speed. I'm much taller than they thought, and the Bismedrish is much smaller than they thought. Okay, those are the things. Motzi Shabbos, I showed it yesterday, right? Yeah. Motzi Shabbos live shiur Manchester. Rabbi Say, I also want to mention, I get a tremendous mazel tov. I'm very proud of myself. You don't have to care about this, but for me, it's an unbelievable achievement. I've been giving shiur for 3 years straight without one stop, without one break. They say 1,000 days over there, but 1,095 doesn't sound. 3 years without a break. Shkoyach, thank you. I want to say a tremendous shkoyach. I read the entire article. Yossi Sanders, last night I got back from the Torah. Yerushalayim, like one, whatever. I read this whole article. Yossi Sanders, he wanted to interview me. I told him I didn't really have time in Manchester. If he wrote this giant article, beautiful, I don't know, you guys are not going to have it. It's the Jewish Weekly in the UK. Beautiful. He wrote it Mamish Givaldik. So now I have to interview with him. We go weiter here. Penny Pakanowski from Melbourne. There's a picture of him last night at the Achron Sefer Torah. And I want to tell you very quickly, I had a piece of inspiration. Maybe people won't connect to it as much as I did, but I have to share it with you because from the entire evening, this was the biggest Musar Haskell and a lesson I'll keep for the rest of my life. My niece, Eliana, she has 3 children. I showed a video of her father-in-law yesterday, Dr. Dauber, with the kid sitting on his lap. Okay. Her father's Nachi Shabbat, Seder. So I asked her, how was your flight? She was very good, very good. I said, it must be a lot easier. Zaidi paid for the business tickets and, sitting in business with these three children must have made it easier. She told me this line and I started crying. Mamish, for me. She goes, yeah, he paid for my business tickets, but I chose to fly economy. I flew economy so that my children shouldn't learn about business class. I wanted them to fly like a regular person. She got free tickets. Zaidi was paying. And she, to me, it was, I don't know if you could relate, not relate, but somebody gives you a free business ticket, you take it, usually, but to give a lesson to her children, to give a chinuch, and I thought about, right away I was thinking that it says in the parsha, Vayitin al anar, Avrum wanted his child, Shmuel, to see what it is, to do chesed, and he showed them, he taught them a real lesson, even though she took a big hit, a personal hit. For me, I started crying on the spot. I told her, you made me cry, Yishkoyach.
That day on, Eli.
Never. You know why I don't fly business? Not because I can't afford it. Of course I can afford it. I just want to chinuch for my children. Reb Eli, how are you? I'm a chanach my kids very well. I fly business with my wife, and my kids sit in the back where they belong. I'm not joking. What are you laughing? Emes, how are you? Long time no speak. Quick story. Downstairs in the Beis Medrash at K&A in Lakewood last night, getting a drink when I heard 2 kollel guys breaking their heads about la carbon, why the lamed makes the difference. Then I remember what my with what my Reb Eli taught me 2 blad ago. It's not that the lamed makes the difference, but it's the vowel under the lamed. It's a shva or patach. They looked up at me and said, wow, you're right. To which I answered that they've been doing the daf with the Reb Eli. They've already known this. Obviously, the best part about it is me, total amaretz, was able to teach these kollel guys something from the daf. Proof is in the pudding. Your system works. Be well. Your Tomechia. Yaakov Lak. The kollel is sponsored. Yosef. The Masech is sponsored. And zchus k'Torah Tומכיה כיעקב ויעל Lak. The Panas HaChodesh. Lili Nishmas zechariah ben Moshe. Panas HaChodesh. Jeff Rosner, zchus, my son. Yosef Simcha Chaim and Torah Refuah Shlaima. Amen. Motesi's in the house, Reb Eli. We waited for you for 8 minutes to start the shiur. Thanks for being here. Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of my dear departed loved ones, including my recent yizkors. Happy birthday, Yisachar Dov, Novoseller from Reb Pinchas, Novoseller. Happy birthday. Oh, and Refuah Shlaima, Filani Ita Miriam Bas Chaya Rivka. Refuah Shlaima, amen. Okay, Reb Eli, here we go. We're in Daf Yomi Amud Beis. Yeah. V'sheinish b'orim la'aval ala mitzvahs. 4 lines from the bottom. Today's Daf Yomi. Oh, I have to give these out now. I don't know if I can do all of them. I'll do some of them because there are a lot of them. Here goes. Eli, 4MDY. It's a small keychain from Yosef Dahari. Avi K, you get one. Gary Ben Moshe gets one. Rabbi Schoenberg does not get one. Nehemiah, who else? Noam Fix, you get Noam Fix. Avremi, he's not here. Yosef, Rabbi Isai gets one. And Tomer, Yishkoyach. I think that's it. The rest are all like Yishmak to the Daf. Okay, we'll give them out. Whoever behaves the best today will get one of these. Mati does not get one of these. If you promise to, okay. Says the Gemara. V'she'ein nishbarim laval al mitzvahs. We spoke about making a shvuah. Let's say not to wear tefillah, not to sit in a sukkah. Ma'achan hafka. Do we learn it from this pasuk? Ishki idor nedel Hashem or yishav shvuah les or yisal nafsha lo yachal dvaroi. That even though it's Lashem, when it comes to yishav shvuah, when it comes to yidor neder, you break it. Shvuah, you don't break it. As we had yesterday, says the Gemara. Ma'asam nafkaloi. We have a different pasuk. Isanya yachal nishba levatel hamitzvah v'lo bitel yachal yechayev. Person made a shvuah to be mevatel a mitzvah, not to do a mitzvah, and he did the mitzvah. He said he's not going to wear tefillin. He swore that he's not going to wear tefillin. Took a sefer Torah, said in Hashem's name he's not going to wear tefillin, but he wore tefillin. Yachal yechayev should be chayev. I'm breaking a shvuah. Tamaloymar lahora oy lehetiv. So here's the pasuk. Maybe were those the words you told me, Yosef? Maybe this was lahara lehetiv again. Lahara lehetiv doesn't mean bad and good, it means positive and negative. I will eat, I won't eat. Lahara is I won't eat, lehetiv is I will eat. Ma tova rishus, afara rishus. So the Gemara in Shabbos learns out that when it comes to I will do is not referring to I will do a mitzvah, because a shvuah cannot work on me doing a mitzvah. You're already chayav on a mitzvah, it doesn't work on doing a mitzvah. Af hara rishos. So too, it doesn't mean I won't do a mitzvah, it's talking about I won't eat a loaf of bread. It's not talking about a mitzvah. So you see this concept already from this pasuk in Vayikra, not a pasuk from Bamidbar. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara in Chanami. We're learning from both psukim. Chad kra lemifterei mikarban shvuah. We're talking about a shvuah's bitui over here. So one pasuk says that if you swore not to be mekayim a mitzvah, you potter from a karban. The chad, and that's the pasuk of lahara lehetiv. This one right over here that we just showed. But this pasuk ishki the neder, and all the way at the end liyachal dvaroi. You part from the lav of shvuah. As I mentioned yesterday, and it's kedai to mention again, I don't know if you picked up on it. I saw people looking at me like, yes, the Gemara says you part from a karba. Yes, the Gemara says you part from the lav of a shvuah. But you are chayiv, malchus. How can you be chayiv malchus? Because you made a shvuah shav. It's a completely different thing. You made a shvuah shav that we're not discussing here. The Ran just sticks it in. By the way, don't think that you just go home scot-free. You're going to get the 39 whips.
You would also get that if you made it on not even chazer.
Good shaila. On a shvuah, not... Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, that's already the same thing. Have to put on tefillin. I mean, that's the positive and the negative. Says the Eli Mishnah, the official Mishnah sponsor. Lili Nishmas Ziparifega Bas Reb Tuvia zechus levracha. Yesh neder b'soich neder. Vein shvuah b'soich shvuah. It's Parshas Shvuah, the first time I mentioned shvuah. But there is a concept of a neder within a neder. Let's stop right here. There is no such thing as a neder within a neder. I cannot make a neder. It's talking about not neder, it's talking about nazirus. When the Mishnah says yesh neder b'soich neder, it's talking about nazirus. So, which there is. Yesh neder b'soich neder. I could apply one neder on top of another neder. We're going to go into what case. There is a mandoma that says I can actually make a neder that, a nazirus. Here, I'm going to start today, nazirus. So it starts right now for 30 days. And then he says it again, he repeats the same words. I want to become a nazir. So it starts today again. And he does the same 30 days, but he's chayiv twice. It's chal on top of each other. That's one mandoma. The other mandoma says that it's chal when he's done. When the 30 days are over, then he starts up again. However, once you swear that you're not going to eat a loaf of bread, so you can't swear again that you're not going to eat that loaf of bread because you already made a shvuah. Ein shvuah chal shvuah. It's like ein isser chal isser. One thing you can't apply the same exact halacha, the same exact shvuah on something. You can't apply another isser on top of an isser. You need to either expand it or do different things to it to make it chal. It can't just be chal one on top of the other on the same space. Ketzad Omar Hareini Nazir im Oichal. Hareini Nazir im Oichal. Person repeats. Right, we started with Nedarim. We're talking about Nazirus, which Nazirus is sort of a neder. It's in between. It's not a neder. It's not a shvu. It's somewhere in between. So a person says, I am going to become a nazir if I eat this loaf of bread. And he says again, Hareini nazir im oichal. I will become a nazir if I eat this loaf of bread. Va'ochal, and then he ate the loaf of bread. So that triggers. The eating the loaf of bread triggers his nazirus. Chayiv al kol achas va'achas. He's chayiv for each nazirus. We shall see. The Ran just brings here another side halacha that when it comes to nazirus, so for every hasra, every time the Edom come and warn him, hey, don't forget you're a nazir, and he eats a kazayis, he's chayiv. Then they come and they warn him again. In other words, it's not a free-for-all. You can't just start eating, okay, I start eating and let me just eat as much as I want. Every time the Edom come along and they say, you're chayiv and a kazayis, you're chayiv for each one. Now, in order to remember this halacha, you're chayiv for each kazayis. So I'll tell you a joke just to remember this halacha. There was a elderly woman who stole a can of pickles. So the judge looked at it, he counted, he said, okay, the can usually has 7-8 pickles, we're going to give you 7 days in jail. So her husband, he was there, he starts screaming, he's like, what is he saying? What is he saying? He's saying, I witnessed that she also stole a can of olives. Kids, so you're chayiv on each and every one. Just remember that. Each and every one. Fine. Since Mendy didn't laugh at the joke, so I'll tell you another zach. Your favorite, Baruch Mordechai once said, he gave a speech, he announced to the oil, he says, tomorrow is my big Shiur Klali. And a lot of the guys didn't show up. So he says, tomorrow by the Shiur Klali, I'm going to do something. I'm going to wear my frock that's olive color. Olive color. So the whole yeshiva came to see Baruch Mordechai like a clown wearing an olive color frock. And sure enough, he shows up with a black frock. I said, Rebbe, you lied to us. He said, no, there are black olives also. It's okay. Fine. Huh? Matim. It's a ma'aseh shematoya. Yochel liyos. It's a ma'aseh sheyochel liyos. All right. I'll go upon him. With all this litzanas, a guy makes an nazirus. He makes an nazirus because he wants to improve his life. He feels it's going to do something for him. He's a shtickle alcoholic maybe. He has a little bit of a drinking problem on Shabbosim and the Kiddush, and he goes home and he makes a big disturbance on Shabbosim. So he makes an nazirus. He says, I'm not going to drink, and if I touch wine, I have to bring a carbon, a whole thing. So there is a concept, and personally for me it works tremendously, and I mentioned this again. I mentioned this a bunch of times, but it's kedai for the new guys especially. One of the things that works best for me in terms of not stopping to learn, let's say, if people talk to you while you're learning, or not eating that chocolate cake that's on the thing when you say you're on a diet, is to give yourself a knas. Similar to this nazirus. Nazirus is, if you're going to drink wine, you have to give a carbon. Carbon is very expensive. $500-$600 plus 2 birds, go to the Beis HaMikdash, the whole process, shave your head. It's not comfortable. So one of the things that you could do, and it's very effective, try it out, is you promise a certain amount of money to tzedakah. I personally like the tzedakah that I hate the most. So the guy I don't want to give tzedakah to, whatever, some sort of organization I don't believe in. Everybody has their thing. So you give to that tzedakah a nice amount of money, something that hurts your pocket. Now before you touch, no, he's fine. Every day it's just a replay. It's just really boring. Wherever it fits in, it's really boring. Huh? So, it mamish works. It works. You tried it? It works. You want to eat that chocolate cake? No, it's going to cost you $500. $500. Not $500. If it's $500 MDY Numela, $500 and then tour karta. I don't know what. So, no, I'm not going there. Okay. Says Says the Gemara. If that's what it took, I would have done it 6 months ago. Yes, fine, we got that. Oh, but the contrast is by Naziros, and each one, and the Gemara is going to explain exactly how he did it. But by I swear I'm not going to eat this loaf of bread. And I swear that I'm not going to eat this loaf of bread. So you only chayiv one. One of the pshatim is, like, what is this guy doing? Could be, he was a brisker. Like, he wasn't sure if he said it. So he said, in that case, it doesn't work. What?
So what's the difference? It works, actually it doesn't work.
Oh.
Why?
So we're going to see in a second. Depends on the case. Once you hear the case in the zchus, it will be so obvious that it works. Basically, if you hold that it works one on top of the other, so it's zchus. It's a pasuk. Shmuel's going to learn from a pasuk. But if the case is that once one zchus finishes, the other one begins, no, that makes a lot of sense. Why shouldn't it work? Oh, so the Gemara deals with that. So it has to be similar to a shvuah. How do you fit that into a shvuah? That's exactly what our sugya is. Beautiful. We learn with the same chavrusa, don't we? Okay, sometimes. Ulai. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. Ravuna, Omar Ravuna. Lo yishanu ela do Omar hareini nazir hayoim hareini nazir lemachar. Oh. So the case is that he said, I'm a nazir today. And he also said, I'm a nazir tomorrow. The migu, the Motesi of yoyme yatira, chayla naziros. Since there's one extra day at the end, so the naziros works. Take a look at the chart for a second. He said blue. He said, I'm a nazir. A nazir lasts for 30 days. Then he said again, I'm a nazir tomorrow. So there's an overlap. The 29 days on the red are the same as the 29 days in the blue. But there's one extra day on red because he starts his naziros the next day. So there's one extra day. There's one extra day. He said, I'm 30 days in nazir today and 30 days nazir from tomorrow. So that means the second naziros ends one day after the first naziros. Oh, since there's one day all the way at the tail end of the red, but guess what? The Ran keeps on explaining this. There is no such thing as a naziros for one day. There's no such thing as naziros for 5 minutes. If I say I'm a nazir for 5 minutes, automatically I become a nazir for 30 days. It's not a regular neder. In a neder, I'm not going to touch this bread for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Naziros is like a neder, but not like a neder. It's like a shvuah, not like a shvuah. It's automatic 30 days. So in Mela, you take that one day all the way at the end, and you have to add on 29 purple days. Oh, so the Ran says, I don't know if this is what you're asking, but I might be answering what you're saying. The Ran says a big yisod here. So why is it neder on top of a neder? Maybe that's what you're asking. Why is it a neder on top of a neder? It's 30 days that begin after the blue. The blue is over, starts a new naziros. 1 day of red and 29 days of purple, call it 30 days of red. It's a different naziros. It's not naziros. It's not a nazir on top of a nazir. It's a nazir after a nazir. What's the connection to our sugya? Says the Ran, beautiful. We must say that when the guy says, my nazir should start tomorrow, it's in the background. It's playing in the background of all those 29 days. The red is there, and it's chal, he says, during the blue, during the 30 days of the blue. It just starts physically and practically it starts after the blue is over. But it's chal. It's there. It's a naziros on top of a naziros. When I look at the first 30 days, I have two naziroses playing here at the same time. The blue and the red. The 30 plus the 30, it's just in the background. Not potential. It's there. Potential is not enough, says Gary. Can we get some air conditioning here, maybe? It's very hot. Maybe just turn close the windows. Shkoyach.
Why could you say when it says but twice and it means 60 days?
No, so then it's not a naziros on top of a naziros. I'm looking for something that's on top, like a shvuah. I can't eat this loaf of bread. I can't eat this loaf of bread, plus I can't eat this loaf of bread. It's the same loaf of bread 2 times and be over 2 korbanos. Be over 2 things, huh? We got to close the windows, guys. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Says the Gemara. Oh, there's another nekuda that I just need to say real quickly. It's an obvious question that everybody's asking themselves. Why in the world does the Mishnah say that he's a nazir triggered by a loaf of bread? Just say, I am a nazir for 30 days. I am a nazir for 30 days. Why does the Mishnah say, I am a nazir if I eat a loaf of bread? Why is that important to the case? You can be a nazir without eating a loaf of bread. I'm a nazir for 30 days. So the Ran says, in a chanami, it just mimics the lashon of a shvuah. Shvuah is, I'm going to eat a loaf of bread, I'm going to eat a loaf of bread. So the Mishnah has to have a certain style. The style is the same. Okay, it's not important. But in case you were asking the question, that's the answer according to the Rab. The other thing is,
That's where it sounds like neder b'sof neder, because the way you're explaining it here, it sounds like neder agabe neder, as opposed to...
It is agabe neder.
But the Mishnah says b'sof neder.
Yeah, it's agabe because it's playing in the background.
It's a double contingency within the neder. I'm only going to be a nazir if I eat the bread versus...
Yeah, but what's the difference? Why is that important to our case? The case is to put another nazirus on top of nazirus. Why do I care how I got there? How it started? But another nekuda I want to point out that I saw in the Ran, I thought it's important to know. Let's see if anybody thinks differently. Maybe it's not important. Maybe everybody have this themselves. When the 30 days are over, you see the blue? 30 days are over. Does he go to the Beis HaMikdash and bring a carbon and shave his head and then start tomorrow 1 through 30? Or he's starting another process in the zeros? Let him just start and go. What do you say? Stay. Baruch Hashem, then I'm saying it then. Okay, so at least we have one person that I could help out. No, he goes to the Beis HaMikdash, he brings all his korbanos.
That's all godly neder.
It's a good point. It's a good shiloh, but that's the halacha. Oh, says Leiby, it only starts when the first one finishes, and it didn't finish until you finish the whole process. You have to bring your 2 birds and the carbon, the chatos, the shlamim, the oila, burn your hair under the pot of the shlamim, do the whole thing. Let's go. Then you start. It's a nice chiddush, huh? Okay. Huh? It is agabe, because when I said it, it was in the background, just I couldn't, okay. You're asking if it's in the background, how do I shave the hair? I hear all these shilas. Very good. Let's go weiter. Zog the Gemara. The migo deka, let's just read the words. The migo deka metoisef yomet tira, because there's that one extra day all the way at the tail end, day 31. Chayla nazirus on the zeros, so the zeros applies itself on top of another zeros. Says Rav Huna, and he argues in Shmuel. If he says, I want my 30 days to go, what's the word? Concurrently, what's the word? Concurrent. At the same exact time. I want to work 30 days at the same time of my 30 days. I want to be over twice. Ein chal and zeros on the zeros. That doesn't work. Because Rav Huna is using logic, common sense, and common sense tells me one cannot apply itself to the other, but if it's all the way at the tail end, I could start. So that's common sense. Now, Shmuel Omar, Afilu Omar, Reini Nozer Hayoim, Reini Nozer Hayoim, Chal and Nazirus Halei, says Shmuel, not true. You could have 2 Nazirus one top of the other. Ula Rav Huna, ask the Gemara. Why? So the simple lashon of the Mishnah is, of the Gemara, why are we talking about 2 separate cases of a neder and a shvuah? Listen, yesh neder b'sech neder, ve'in neder b'sech neder. The Gemara asks a very obvious question. In neder itself, I have 2 cases. I have a case of a neder on top of a neder. In the same 30 days, I have 2 nedarim. And this case, where I have 30 days, and then another 30 days afterwards. 2 beautiful cases in neder. Why do I divide them and separate them? One is a neder, one is a shvuah. Now that's a typical case of lifloig v'lisnei b'didah. Why am I jumping to two cases, neder and shvuah? Give me an example within neder. One works, one doesn't work. 30 upon 30 doesn't work. 30 after 30 does work. The Ran says that's not the question over here. because otherwise you have the same exact question on Shmuel. Says the Ran, the question is very nice. If it's true that a neder on top of a neder, like Shmuel says, doesn't work, then it should be in the Mishnah. Just elaborate a little bit. You started talking about Nedarim, that it's a neder after a neder, 30 days here, and then after the next 30 days, and then you're jumping immediately into Shavuot. That's very good, says the Ran. That's okay. But at least explain what happens if you have 30 days on top of 30 days in a neder. You forgot that halacha. Why are you jumping immediately? Don't talk about a Shavuot, but why can't you explain a little bit more in a neder? Give me 2 cases of a neder and 1 case of a Shavuot. Why are you jumping immediately to Shavuot? You hear? Listen, I have 2 cases in neder. One applies itself on the other, and one doesn't apply itself. The what? If I start my second zeros tomorrow, then it's a case of yesh neder b'seich neder. Then 2 nedarim can be on top of each other. But if he says already knows hayoim, but both of them are together, if you zayin Amud Beis, ain't neder b'seich neder. Kashya, okay. We know in Shas, Kashya. If a Kashya start finish, we're not going to go into all the jokes, but Tiyufta you could die from, but not a Kashya. Okay. We just turn to Yudzayin Amud Beis as zchus to continue being able to support Torah and to finish Shas Reb Eli, Refuah Shlaima, Baruch, Ben Tzara, Yitiyus Bas Mindel, Latzlachs Ben Yomim, Ben Itiyus. I got to tell you this, Maisa. This was, to me, unbelievable. It's not like the biggest hashgacha process in the world, but if you recall, when I was in Manchester, I said in middle Shiur that one of my wife's relatives grew out his hair very long, and I thought he's Meshuggah. And then I saw him, nice, clean-cut haircut, and I said, what's good? Now I said, okay, so he is normal. What's going on? So the guy comes over to me yesterday. He says, 100 people told him, they get a clip, and because of me, I was Machshal's mother, she watched the entire Shiur of Daf Yomi, a whole thing. And then he tells me, he says, you're not going to believe it. Where did you say that story? In Manchester, in a show. Guess what? That's my show. That's where I was my bar mitzvah, in that show. Tens of thousands of shows in the world. I had the source to say that story, and that's where this guy grew up. I'm not going to say his name. Okay, even though he said it could. Zok the Gemara. Not yesh neder b'seich neder ve'ein shvuah b'seich shvuah. Our Mishnah, there's a neder and a neder, but not a shvuah. In the shvuah, a shvuah doesn't apply itself to another shvuah. Echidami ilema. Now we're going into it. The Omar, what happened? The Omar already knows hayoim, already knows l'machar. If he said the Naziros, the second Naziros starts tomorrow. So wait a minute. It has to, everything, we said, even the Lashonis, Oichel, everything has to rhyme. Everything has to be in the same style. So Memela, Shvuah has to be the same style as a Neder. So what happened? He said, Shvuah, Shaloi Oichel Te'enim, V'chaza v'omar Shvuah, Shaloi Oichel Anovim. He made 2 separate shvuos. One is I'm not going to eat figs, and the other one is I'm not going to eat grapes. Of course, everybody admits that that's a good shvuah. By the way, somebody said that Bizman Hazeh, since figs, you can't eat them because they're full of insects. Almost every time there's an insect in there. So maybe it's a shvuah. The shvuah is not chal anyways because it's over much because of Torah. Okay, fine. I wasn't so aware that the figs. They said what?
Someone wanted to take a little duck the outside and duck me a buck, so you can take a shvuah on that table. Oh,
you mean you want to be?
Okay, take a little bit of the skin off of it, and there's no bug in that little.
The skin is edible?
I don't know. You just take a little
Who knows? Rabbi Shomer is not. I see Rabbi Shomer turning to you. That means you're in trouble. You're in trouble because he's what have Rabbi Shomer? The big problem with bugs with the figs, very big. Have you ever eaten a fig? You can't recognize the bug, says Rabbi Shomer. You see that? Okay, so these guys know that. Huh? Okay, you're going into it was a joke. It was not mamish that you can't make a shvuah. Of course you could. I was just saying, I was pointing out a thing that it's so hard to eat figs. That's all I was trying to do. You know what? Do you like figs? You're not going to say you don't like figs. It's one of the shivas haminim. You like figs. Now, I have what you're saying. Okay, you can take one thing, look in a microscope and eat it. Okay. Of course you could. Clean it out with a brush, toothbrush, each piece. Okay, so obviously we're not talking about a case where he said 2 separate shvuos, one on grapes, one on figs. Listen, Rabbi, we're going into a beautiful sugya here. Eloi chedami delechal shvua shvua. So what is the case? That's similar to our case of Nazirus. He didn't go from figs to grapes. He said figs. I'm not going to eat figs. And he swore he's not going to eat figs. Two shvuos the same thing. They give us and if you want to compare it, they have to be the same. So by Nazirus, what happened? And what's the halacha? If you say the same exact words ben Nazir, it has to be the same, and it's going to work. That's a big kash on Ravuna. Ravuna says today the Nazir should be chal today, and then you say the Nazir should be chal today. It doesn't work. It only works if you say the Nazir should be chal tomorrow. Ravuna. No, I'm sticking with my plan. We're talking about my Nazir starts today, and my second Nazir starts tomorrow. So Mela, how does it fit with a shvuah? He said, I'm not going to eat figs. I even have a picture of Boisai. He said, first was, I'm not going to eat figs. And then he said, I'm not going to eat figs and grapes together. Okay? So, because the Ran says, yeah. Huh? Right, no. What happened? He ate figs. As soon as he eats figs, he's over in the shvuah. No. He made a shvuah, he's not going to eat figs. So no matter what, this guy's stuck. He can't eat figs, ever. He could eat grapes without figs. Grapes he could eat without figs. Says the Gemara, listen to this. V'amar Rabbo. Oh, now comes Rabbo. So, fine. So, in the beginning we thought, time out. In the beginning we thought that the din, the halacha, is not the same. Why? Because it's 30 days plus 30 days. Figs plus figs. Now we're saying that we're going by the Lashon, explains the Ran, and we're saying that one overlaps the other. In other words, even though by Nazirus, you could look at Nazirus and say 30 days and 30 days. It's two separate 30 days. And when you're looking at a grape and a fig, it's two separate things, like 30 and 30. We're saying no. The 30 days overlaps and starts when the other one didn't finish yet. And over here it's the same thing. The fig, together with the grape, overlaps the figs, the first fig that he did. And Memela, it's similar. That's the similarity. So what? Our case says Rabba, it's not. Listen what happened. Here, you see, I put a little sheep in there. He ate figs, and then he brought a carbon. Now let me ask you something. Forget the carbon. If a person eats figs, let's see if, where's Yosef? He left already. Listen to this, Avi. What do you say in this case? Think about this. A person eats figs, and the next day, he eats grapes, or whatever. He eats figs. Let's forget that. He eats figs, and then he eats grapes. How many korbanos does he bring? One. Why one? Yeah, but he made a shvuah the blue. What about the blue shvuah? You're not going to believe this. In this case, he has to bring two korbanos. Again, he made a shvuah, I'm not going to eat figs. He made a shvuah, I'm not going to eat figs and dates. And then he ate figs and dates. He has to bring two korbanos. Because what happened to the first shvuah? The first shvuah, he said, I'm not going to eat figs. He has to bring a carbon because he ate figs and grapes. So he has to bring a carbon on the figs that he said, I'm not going to eat figs. And then he also ate grapes together with the figs. He has to bring a second carbon. Isn't that unbelievable? But Rabbah says no. Listen to this. Not no. But Rabbah says, what if you break up the figs and the grapes with an animal? You bring a carbon. So when you bring a carbon for the figs, I ate figs. Oops, I ate figs. I made a shvuah, I'm not going to eat figs. I have to bring a carbon. So he separates and he puts aside a carbon. You hear what's going on here? Now by him putting a carbon on the side, he just broke it up. He just separated the figs from the grapes. There's a hefsek. And then he ate grapes. Then he ate grapes. Says, Rabba, v'chazer al chanovim, havel anovim chatzi shiur, v'mivim carbon al chatzi shiur. So this is a big problem for us. Why? Because we're saying that they overlap. The figs and the grapes overlap each other. Alma, hey chada amar shvuah shlo yichalteinu v'chazav amar shvuah shlo yichalteinu b'anovim migu dechal shvuah al anovim chayla nami al teinim. So, according to us, according to Ravuna, it's like the tail end, like the Nazirus on the last day is chal a little bit, so the whole thing is chal. Over here also, says Gemara, Ravuna l'isrili kirabba. It's not a problem because Rabba is an Amayra. Okay, so he argues in another Amayra. It's not a Mishnah or anything. Still they argue. Fine. Says the Gemara, you know what? Should we stop? Let's stop here. Rabbi say on Motesi Shabbos, I need to ask Mechila. I need to start this year a little bit later because I'm coming in from Yerushalayim. I'm going back to Chana Sefer Torah is like a 7-day thing. We're doing Shabbos Shever Brachos Chana Sefer Torah. So I'm coming in from Yerushalayim. Maybe Menachem Atez not here, so I can say whatever I want. But Gary's here. Gary, what time? Because I have to come in from Motesi Shabbos. Whatever you say. Huh? 8 o'clock? 8:10. 8:10. We'll make up sure. 8:10. 8. I'll try for 8. I'll really try for 8. Woo!